In today's video, I'm going to show you step by step how to create a landing page for an elegant product. Let me show you what we're going to be designing today. So if you take a look here at this page, this is the product. So this is a watch that I chose. So if I scroll down here, you can see it's fading out and giving us access to the second section here, which has a video and some description text. And I don't know if you noticed this, but here in the background, we have this watch also as a design element. And then moving on here, I also have this section here, which I intentionally did in black and white because it really makes this page look very, very elegant. Now, before we begin, if you're brand new to web design and you'd like to learn how to design professional looking websites, I have an offer for you. If you buy Divi using my affiliate link in the video description below, I will give you access to my web design formula course, a course that teaches you how to design professional looking websites from scratch, step by step. All you have to do is to buy Divi using my affiliate link, send me an email, and I'll give you access to that course. So before we get started, please do subscribe and hit the bell notification, because by doing so, you'll be notified every time I release new videos. I release a lot of videos here about marketing and web design. All right, so without wasting a lot of time, let's dive in and let me show you step by step how I created this landing page. Right, so right now I'm in my admin dashboard. So the very first thing you need to do is to create your landing page. So I'm going to come over here to pages and click on add new. Just going to close this, and here we can give a page our name. So I'm just going to call this watch promo, and then I'm going to click on use Divi Builder. Now, what really makes this design really stand out is the use of images and color. So I'm going to be going through this with you. So I'm going to hit here on start building, and let's start by adding our first section. So I'm going to click here on this plus button, and this section here needs to be full width. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. Next, I need to start adding all my titles here. So I'm going to use some lorem text. So I'm just going to copy a bit of text here and use that as my heading text. I'm going to go ahead, edit there. And then I'm also going to add some description text. So I'm going to copy this paragraph here, and this is going to be added over here. So I'm going to paste it here. And finally, our button here says click here. We want this button to say buy now. So to do that, I'm just going to come over here and just add my text here like that. Not sure what that's about. Anyways, okay, so moving on. The next step now is to head over here to the background. So I'm going to click here on background, and I'm going to add a gradient here. So I'm just going to delete this and add a gradient background. So I'm going to click here on this plus button and add my first color. So my first color here is going to be black, and my second color is going to be transparent. And then over here, I'm going to change my gradient direction to 90 degrees because right now it's at 180. So what we need to achieve here is a solid line. So to do that, you need to adjust your start and ending position. So I'm going to add 55% here, and let's add 55 here as our ending as well. And now you can see we have a solid line. So far, so good. The next step now is to add an image of our product over here on this tab. So I'm going to click on this plus button, and I already have my image for my watch here. So I can either use this one here. In fact, let's see what this one looks like. I'm going to click upload an image, and there we go. We have our image right there. But what we need to do now is to come back over here and make sure that we place the gradient above the image like that. So now you can see our images in the background. But as I'm looking at this, I don't really like that image. So let me stick to what I had before. So I'm going to go back in here, and the watch that I had is this one. So I'm going to click upload an image, and now it looks much better, to be honest. Okay, so let's save this. The next step now is to make, let's drag this over here to the top. Great. So now I have this over here at the top. To make this look great, it needs to fill most of the screen. So let's go back in here, and I'll show you how to do that. So if you click on design, layout, and then you want to choose here where it says make full screen. So if you select that, notice that now our watch now covers pretty much the full screen. The next step now is to customize our text and make it look really, really nice. But before we do that, we need to make sure that our text here does not go across to the other side. So to fix that, we want to come over here to sizing. And this is where we need to adjust our content width. So I'm going to bring it all the way down here to about, let's go with 50%. Great. Now I've noticed that my button just says buy. That's not good. It needs to be buy now. So I'm going to go in here and add buy now. Great. So now I have my button, I have my text, and this looks really, really great. Let's customize now our fonts. So I'm going to click here on the main title here, change my font to Poppins. I'm going to make this bold, and then I'm going to make it all caps. So size wise, I think I need to make this slightly bigger as well, to about 38. Next, let's go to the description text here. We're going to do the same thing, change this to Poppins, and then we're also going to make it slightly bigger. So let's go with 20. I think 20 works fine. And then over here, I'm going to change my weight to semi-bold. And looking at this now, I think I need to increase the size a little bit here on my main header. So I'm going to increase it a little bit. Even if it takes 2 lines, it's okay. The reason why I'm doing this is I need to distinguish between the paragraph text and this heading text over here. Right, so now that I have it here, let's set it to 48. Okay, so now that I have my size, I also need to fix my line height, because right now things are really close together. So that looks much better at 1.2. All right, so now that I have this all set, let's head over here to the button now. So to be honest, I'm not going to do quite a lot of work here on the button. All I have to do is to just make it white with black text. So to activate my styles, I just need to click yes. And then I am going to go in and add my button background color. I'm just going to set this to white. And then I need to head over here and remove the border radius. Next, I'm going to change my font and keep it consistent by choosing Poppins. But of course, you can use any font you like over here, so you don't really have to use Poppins all the time. I'm going to make it all caps. Now, what I've noticed now is I can't see my text, so we need to add our text color, and we need to also remove the width. So there we go. So I've removed the width. Now let's head over here and let's fix our button. So I'm going to make this bold, and I think that looks great, but I need to make the button look slightly bigger. And I'm also going to add an arrow here. So that looks much better here when I hover with the arrow. Now let's add a bit of, let's make the button look bigger. Now the technique I use here is to just add padding around my button text. So let's start by adding 20. Let's see how that looks. And then I'm going to say 30, both on left and the right. Let's try 40, because we need this button nice and big. And I think 40 works okay. So I'm just going to reduce this a little bit. Okay, let's go with 16. So 16 and then 40 on the sides. Okay, so that looks great. I'm going to save this. And pretty much our first section has been designed. Moving on to the next one now. Here is where we need to do something a bit different. So we're going to add 2 columns here. So I'm going to select my 2 columns, and then over here on the left, I'm going to add a text module. So I'm going to search for it and select it. And then over here, I'm just going to copy my dummy text and paste it over here. Now, the reason why I use this dummy text is because it gives you the opportunity to go in and add your own text. So visually, it will look right. So when you design it, if you follow this step by step, you're also going to add your own text in here. And same applies with this product here. This could be any product. It could be a bottle of whatever beverage it is, and this will still look great. Okay, so moving on, I'm going to go in now and change my text font, and let's go with Poppins here. Slightly bigger, change the color. So I'm going to add black to this, because for some reason, black really works for elegant stuff. Okay, so I am going to make this bold. In fact, let's make this 22. Okay, there we go. I'm going to save that. Now over here, I'm going to add a video. So I'm going to search for my video module. And straight away, what I like doing here is to add an overlay here on the video. So I'm going to click on this plus button and add my overlay image, and then click upload an image. And now you're going to see that our video now is going to be really, really nice. So next, I'm going to come over here to design, go to play icon, and to adjust the size of this play button, you need to come over here and reduce the size. So I usually go with 50, because I don't want this button to be way too big or way too small. Okay, great. So now that I have that in place, I'm going to save, and then I'm going to add a bit of padding over here. So usually I go with 100, and I also click here on this chain icon so that the same value gets applied both to the top and the bottom. Okay, so this is taking shape now. This is looking great. The next step now is to head over here to my section background. Click on background, and I'm going to add an image in here. So this image that I'm going to add here has been prepared in Photoshop. So I'm going to go ahead and add it. Now I've added a gradient here, and it's also a PNG. So it has a part which does not have a background. All right, so I'm going to add my image in here. Right, so now that we have this watch in the background, what we need to do is to lower the intensity. I mean, of course you can have it this way, but over here I can make it lighter just to add this little subtle image of that watch. So to do that, you want to come over here and add white as your main background color. Switch back over here to the image, and then you want to go to your blend mode and choose overlay. Right, so finally you want to come back over here to your background, click over here, and then add some transparency just by dragging the slider down. So you can see here we have just a little bit of this watch showing. So this actually makes this look really nice, and using this watch as a design element just adds an extra touch to your design. All right, so I'm happy with that section. I'm going to save this, and let's move on to the next section. All right, so I'm going to click here on this plus button, click on regular, and I'm going to go with a single column to start off with. Now in here, we're going to add an image. Choose my image module here, and then I'm going to choose my images. So the first image I'm going to go with is this one here. So I'm going to go ahead and select it, and take note here, this is 720 by 1280 pixels. So I'm going to click upload an image, and there we go. Here's our image. Now to make this black and white, thankfully Divi has our filters here where we can go to and change our colors. So I'm going to click here on filter, and then I'm going to remove my saturation altogether. Now, as I'm looking at this, I can make this slightly better by adding a bit of contrast. Okay, not too much. And then the brightness here, you can either add or reduce it a little bit. So I think I'm happy with this, to be honest. I'm going to go ahead and save. So what I'm going to do next is to head over here to my row settings. So I have this column here already, which has our image. So all I have to do is to duplicate this twice. So now that I have my 3 images, all I have to do now is to save, and then I need to go into this one here and change that image. So I'm going to go with this watch, upload an image, save that. I'm on to this one here. Click on this image area and choose the image that I want, upload an image, and save. Now you can see here I've really saved a lot of time, because if I had to go into each and every one of these images, it will take me time to go in and add my remove my saturation on it. So this is a quick way of going in and customizing your images. Next, I am going to come over here and add another row. And this time it's going to be a single row with a text module. So over here, I just need to add my title for this. So I'm going to go ahead and just choose some text over here, because you don't want to have your sections here without a title. There we go. So I have my title now. I'm going to go into design, text. First of all, I'm going to center it, and then I'm going to make it all caps. Then I'm going to choose my font, and it's going to be Poppins. Right, so moving on, I'm going to increase my size a little bit here to about, let's say 20. And then I like adding a bit of letter spacing, and I usually go with 10. That usually works fine. I'm going to save, and then I'm going to drag this above my images. There we go. That's looking great. So for this section here, I'm going to, again, add some padding, and I'm going to set this to 100 pixels. And I'm going to apply this both to the top and the bottom as well. And then the next step now is to head over here and add my background color. So I'm going to click here on background, click on this plus button, and I am going to add black. Save. And now you can see our page is taking shape. Right, so as you can see now, This section is really looking nice, and I like the contrast between these sections. So over here we can see we have this white, and then it goes into this dark one right here on the bottom. Now this text here, it's fine, it doesn't have to be white, because this grayish color here is also very good. It's very subtle and it does the job. So what you can do further here is to go in and add some animations, but to be honest, if you want to keep this elegant, you want to keep it, you know, very simple. So as you've noticed, I don't use a lot of animations in my designs. Okay, so moving on, what we need to do now is to center this text, and as I'm looking at this is a bit too much because it needs to be a slight gray. And right now this black is a bit too much. And these are the decisions that you need to be making as you're designing your website, because it's very important that you have the website looking really right. And these little small changes do make a massive difference. Okay, so over here now, I'm going to go straight to my text and change this color. So I think that looks much better. And you know what? I'm going to try and use light and see how that looks. No, that doesn't look great. So let's stick with bold. Right, so I'm going to go now in and adjust my padding there on the top. So I'm going to scroll down here to spacing, and then I'm just going to add padding to the top so I can just center this. There we go. Save that. So that looks much better. All right, so all I have to do now is to head over here to the top. Now you can see here, this is taking a bit more space. Let's show a bit more of this watch. And to do that, I'm going to go back over here to my background. In fact, I'm going in the wrong place. I need to be over here. So first of all, I want to reduce the content width here. So I'm going to go to design. Then let's head over here to sizing and bring it down to about 44%. Save that. And I think that looks all right. And then let's go into our background now. And over here on my gradient, you can see I'm at 55. Let's bring it down to 50 and do the same here as well, so that we have a solid line. So I'm going to save that, and that looks much better. So you can see here, we have more of this watch, and our text here also looks fine here on the end. Now, here's the thing. The question is, how does this look on a mobile device? And okay, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to click here on tablet view. And to be honest, it's not too bad because it really shows my watch here, and it also shows my text here nice and clear. Now over here, I can see my video and my description text, so that's good. And on the bottom here, as I expected, I have all my images. Great. So let's take one look now at the mobile phone, and here things don't look good because as you can see, our text here needs to be adjusted, make it smaller, and everything else looks pretty much okay. So it's just the text here on the main heading area that needs to be adjusted to make it look better. All right. So the very first thing I'm going to do here is to just work on my text here, because that doesn't look great. Either I have to make it bigger or I have to make it smaller. So let's go back in here, and I am going to make it bigger. Okay. And let's save this. Yes. So this looks much better, because if you're having one word here, it's called an often in design. So you don't want to have that. So you want to have either everything on one line, or at least have more than two words here on the bottom. So that looks much better. So all you have to do now is to go in and adjust for mobile. And to do that, you just want to click here and go to sizing first. So I'm going to come over here to sizing and click on this little icon. And then first of all, you go on the tablet, and you can adjust, you know, how big this can be if you want to. So I'm just going to leave it at 48%. But the most important thing here is to work on my title text. So here on the size, I can reduce it by clicking on this little icon. And there on the tablet, I'm just going to bring this down to about, let's go with 38. And then on the phone, make it smaller to about 24. And then over here on my paragraph text, I'm going to reduce this as well. So you can see here as I'm going down, let's leave it at 16 because 16 is much better. It looks much better at 16. And let's head over to our mobile phone. And over here on the tablet, that looks okay. Right. But of course, you know what? You need to go in and pay more attention to your sizes here, because you want to make sure that everything looks great in all devices. And I've noticed here that my size has gone smaller. I think I haven't saved my settings, so I'm just going to go back and fix that. Right. So let's increase this a little bit and save. All right, so that's looking great. So as you can see now, this landing page looks way much better now, and you can use this for different products, as I mentioned, and final here is looking great. So what has really made this work is I've used black as my color here to make everything look elegant, and I'm sure you can agree with me that black here has really worked. So you want to play around with different colors and see what really works well, depending on the type of project that you're working on. Of course, if you're working on, say, for example, a page that has an organic fruit that you're promoting, black wouldn't work. So you want to choose your colors really well. All right, guys, that's all I have for you in today's video. Make sure you hit the subscribe and bell notification. By doing so, you'll be notified every time I release new tutorials. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.